Alright, welcome to the video. In this one, I'm going to break down Brez Scales funnel that's generating him over $700,000 every single month. And that funnel involves a lot of moving stuff, like how he's using different social media platforms to systematically move strangers through his ecosystem until they realize they need to buy from him. Plus some backend stuff and automations that he's using. Then there are some unique positioning strategies. For example, one of them is what we call the category creation, which helps him dominate his market and position himself completely away from his competitors, which honestly isn't very common nowadays. And then probably the most important thing, which is the conversion copy that he's using on his website, which surely is outperforming his competitors. So there's a lot of value in this video, and if you're running a creator business, you should not miss this. If you're doing something, if you don't have time to watch this video, I would suggest save this video somewhere and come back to it whenever you have the time, because in this one I'm literally going to show you every single strategy that is working right now in the current market conditions and generating cash for a creator. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Farz and I'm on High Tech Acquisition, where we help creators build and scale their info products. And when it comes to info products, I know what I'm talking about. You can check all the testimonials from 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs on my Instagram. And the reason I mention this is because in this video, you're going to find countless valuable strategies that you can implement right now to monetize your audience or add an extra revenue if you obviously already have an info product. Now, before we start, just to give you an overview, Brez is using what we call an educator funnel. And in case you don't know what a funnel is, here's a visual representation. It's basically a mechanism that you use to take people from complete stranger to paying client. And I like to split funnels into 3 parts, which I call AEA, because it makes it super simple for everyone to understand where we are in the customer journey. And AEA basically stands for how a creator first attracts his ICP, then how they educate them and turn them into a qualified lead, and then how they acquire or convert them into a client or a customer. And I'm pretty sure that's enough for you to understand what this video is about. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the first phase, which is attract. Now, most of the cold audience that Brez is getting are from TikTok and Instagram. Now, he's mainly posting lifestyle content, but he's also mixing it with controversial and funny content to attract a massive cold audience to the top of the funnel. Also, in every marketing funnel, there are different awareness levels, and through his short form content, he's attracting a lot of people that are completely unaware, which are the hardest people to sell to. So the only goal here is to get them into the funnel, where Brez can further educate them and moving them from unaware to problem aware, then solution aware, and then finally product aware and most aware, where they are most likely to buy from them. Now, short form content obviously triggers quick dopamine. We all should know this by now. And people get instant gratification from consuming these little 30 to 60 seconds video. And according to that, Brez is perfectly designing his videos to be engaging and shareable. And as you can see, he's been getting massive reach with completely raw content, like no editing, no captions, no script, and literally nothing. He literally just speaks and his audience wants to listen to him. And that's a very powerful position to be in. Now, essentially, to make someone buy from you, they must know you, like you, and trust you. And through these short videos, people start to know him and like him. But it's just so hard to make them trust you, especially with lifestyle content and in the current market conditions. That's exactly why most creators who try to sell their courses using lifestyle content fail, and people call them a scammer. But Brez has positioned himself completely differently. I'm going to come back on that in a minute. And also, keep in mind, he's not trying to educate anyone here, because he's following a very strategic approach, where he first hooks people and pulls them into his ecosystem. Now, people that are watching his short videos surely wants to know what he does for a living. And that obviously builds what we call curiosity loops. And majority of the people will need full context about how he bought the Lambo and all the other cars. And that is exactly what he uses to drive traffic to his YouTube channel. Now, these long form videos on his main YouTube channel has 3 big objectives. First, it obviously proves that his lifestyle is not rented, which is what most people assume when they see someone showing off their lifestyle and selling a course. Second, it confirms his expertise, because he's pretty transparent about it. He actually shows his dashboards and Stripe notifications and all the other stuff about his brand scaling agency, which is extremely useful for building credibility. Then third is Google's 7-11-4 rule, which is that it takes 7 hours of content across 11 touch points in 4 different locations to turn a stranger into a buyer. It basically confirms that he didn't just go lucky or have a grandpa who owns Fiji Water. He actually shows his client work and his brand scaling agency that's generating the money to afford the lifestyle that he's living. Now, in simple terms, he absolutely kills all the objections at the very top of the funnel. Even the most common objection that if it works, why don't you do it by yourself? He actually shows his brand scaling agency that he's running. Now, in other scenarios, people will see a person showing off his lifestyle, they go to his profile, they'll see that he's selling course, and they'll bounce. But in Brez's case, just because he has positioned his content to gain trust first and then sell them something, just because he has addressed the right curiosity gaps and used them to redirect most of his new attention and audience to his long form videos, and then in the long videos he proves that he actually has a skill that he's monetizing to make the money that he's showing off. It's like someone who's in shape offering fitness coaching. This is probably the most obvious example, but it applies everywhere. Because if someone is not fit by themselves, they might have all the knowledge and a great program, but it will be very hard to position it correctly if the observable characteristics doesn't match the professional claims. Your observable characteristics should match what you are trying to position yourself as. Now, there's also a difference here, because in B2B businesses, your company's performance and the success rates matters a lot. But in direct-to-consumer businesses, especially when you're leveraging lifestyle content to attract leads, you have to make one thing extremely obvious, which is why you are capable of selling it, and without making it look salesy. Now, I've personally seen very big creators saying that you need more educational content and sales assets, and that lifestyle content is dead. But realistically, nothing is right or wrong as long as you know how to implement it and then place all the other pieces correctly. Like most people, and personally I've seen these people, they'll have content like Iman Gaji and then messaging like Alex Omozi and use a funnel like Brez. Like, no wonder it's not working and people call you scammer. Now, that was just the first stage where he attracts his ICP and removes any possible objections at the very top of the funnel. And that is what makes majority of his audience move into the middle of the funnel, where they are ready to be educated and learn how he makes all the money he's showing off. Now, once Brez has someone's attention through short form content and the long videos he's posting on his main channel, he needs to make them trust him. And this is where his second channel comes in. His main channel is purely lifestyle content, but this second channel is where he actually drops real value, because he has to prove that he knows what he's talking about and he knows enough to be able to teach it to you as well. Now, at this point that I'm recording this video, he's probably the only creator and surely the biggest example in the market who's truly using the category creation positioning, which really just means that how he didn't compete in the existing categories, he instead created his own category. Not any agency owner, he's not any marketing expert, he's a freelance brand scaler. Now, the great thing about this category creation is that it eliminates all the direct competition and positions him as the only solution to this newly defined problem. Now, think about this. When you're the only person in your category, you don't have to compete on price or features. Like, you just have to market your solution effectively and massively, which obviously he's doing brilliantly. Now, the strategy here is to build authority by providing real value before asking for anything. And obviously the conversion rates on this second channel must be very high compared to his main channel, because this is the point in the funnel where his audience is solution aware and also product aware. The solution is that they need to acquire the skills that Brez has to make the money that he's making, and the product is obviously his info product. Now, let's look at the third section of the funnel, which is acquire. Let's start with how his funnel is actually structured. So on his Instagram, he has a link for brands to have him market their brand, but we won't talk about it as it's not an info product. And for the info product, he sends viewers to this website where the headline says the exact strategy I used to go from a fat Fortnite kid to making over 6 figures per month with freelance brand scaling. And as you can see, he's clearly targeting his ICP by saying a fat Fortnite kid. Like, you can imagine who would listen to it. Obviously the people who are in the age of 18 to 22. And one of the most important things, especially for direct-to-consumer businesses, is keeping the headline as simple as possible, because it doesn't have to be super clever. It just needs to be clear to convert. Then the website has a VSL, which he has positioned as a mini course, but realistically is just there to pre-sell the prospects on the concept, which is freelance brand scaling, and highlight the value once again and create urgency before they book the call. Also, to get access to the mini course, you first have to opt in, and which means filling your which means giving your personal information like your full name, email, and phone number in exchange for the value provided in the mini course. Also, the way he provides value is actually kind of strategic, because I've seen very small percentage of creators actually doing this right. Because in the direct to consumer market, most marketers either give everything for free, which destroys the perceived value, or give nothing free, which builds no trust and credibility. Now, in Brez's case, he gives away the what and the why completely, and which helps him build massive trust and authority. But he holds the how, and more importantly, when and in what order, especially. And without that information, it's hard to implement what they already know. But because of the value he has provided, they feel like they are very close to making a lot of money. And that is exactly what makes them want to buy even more. Like Brez mentions that he was once that fat Fortnite kid. That makes a picture of someone you would call a loser. That line is there to actually sell them on themselves that they can win as well. Below the VSL there is a Typeform application, and below that there are like 50 to 100 client testimonials. These testimonials are specifically designed to catch the bottom part of the website. For the people who have watched and read everything but they aren't still sure, these testimonials builds credibility again for someone who's still not sure if the program works or not. So the type form I mentioned is basically a qualification form that you are going to fill out with your personal information, where you're going to answer a couple of questions and you'll either be qualified or unqualified. If you're qualified, you'll have the option to book a call. Now the problem is when someone's unqualified, because the type form will use conditional logic to send them to the unqualified section. Now, Brez doesn't actually have anything to offer unqualified people. Instead, he just sends them back to his YouTube. I personally wouldn't recommend doing that, because if someone's unqualified, maybe financially, if you basically cancel their application, what they would immediately do after that, they're obviously going to want to fill out the form again because they want to see what happens if they put the right answer. So now you're going to end up with a lot of lower quality leads. The best thing you can do is offer a low ticket product that basically helps them to get into a position and make enough money to afford your high ticket program. Because first, they will obviously get more value from you, and second, they will be in your ecosystem and you can upsell them whenever they are qualified. For the people who have booked the call, the leads enter what we call a pre-sale nurture sequence. Those leads are going to receive email sequences and SMS sequences or WhatsApp sequences before their actual call. In those sequences, you should sharing the sales assets. Now, Brez is typically sharing his YouTube videos or his case studies, and the goal here is to warm up those leads as much as possible so they show up on the call ready to buy. So now let's quickly talk about the most important parts, because as business owners, you don't just want to know what someone else is doing, but we're most interested in knowing why something's working and how we can use it in our businesses. And that's exactly what I'm most focused on. To study the most valuable strategies from 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs, some of them that I even work with, and share them with you guys on this channel. So first things first, you need a real proof of concept. Just like Brez runs an actual freelance brand scaling agency while teaching people how to do it. Then second, you need to track all the metrics like your CAC, your lifetime value, your ROAS, lead to call rates, your close rates, your follow-up conversion rates. Like, you need to know exactly where the leads are falling off so you can optimize your funnel accordingly. Then number 3 is you need multiple conversion opportunities, because not everyone buys on the first call or on the first time they are looking at your website. So you need nurturing sequences, you need retargeting campaigns, you need to focus on long-term relationship building. Then number 4 is, and this is probably the most important one, is that you need to know your customers. Like, period. Just like Brez does, like he's using Fortnite Kid on his website because that perfectly resonates with his ICP, his ideal customer profile. You see every piece in his messaging and his marketing and his content, and the way he speaks in his content speaks directly to that one specific persona, because he's just marketing to one avatar. And anyone watching him who fits in that scenario will naturally be attracted to him. That's exactly why you need to be super clear who you are talking to. With that being said, that's it for today's video. If you think it was valuable, you can subscribe to my channel because I'll be analyzing more 6 to 7 figure funnels. And if you're serious about scaling your own creative business, you can reach out to me on my Instagram using the first link in the description. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.